Hi, and welcome to Transparent with Tina, a holistic approach for mental, physical, and spiritual well being so you can become the best version of yourself. Welcome to Transparent with Tina. I am Tina Marx, your host. So, what if your body was designed to heal in ways that we're only just beginning to understand? Today's guest, Dr. Joy Kong, is a leader in regenerative medicine and a pioneer in the world of stem cell therapy. Her work is challenging the limits of what we've been told about aging, chronic illness, and the body's ability to repair itself. Today, we explore the science and the possibility of true healing from the inside out, from the power of stem cells to the deeper connection between mind, body, and energy. This episode invites you to rethink everything that you thought you knew about health. Welcome, Dr. Joy.
Thank you so much, Tina. So happy to be here with you.
I'm so happy to have you here too. I mean, I've never had anybody on about stem cells, so you're going to be educating me as we go along. So,
Fantastic.
yeah, you're at the forefront of something that feels both groundbreaking and to some people almost like unbelievable. So, before we get into the science of it, what first pulled you into the world of regenerative medicine?
I think it came from a desire to actually be effective. We all went into medical school to make a difference, to feel that we can do something really good for people. And the traditional medicine that we've been taught have been falling short, especially for chronic illnesses. So there's a lot of frustration. I've seen that working at a VA hospital, seeing all the veterans coming in. Everyone comes in with a big plastic bag of the medication bottles. And that is not a picture of health, of vitality. So what are we missing? And also, I wanted to be really healthy and optimal, even though I wasn't sick, but I still want to be better, right?
Yeah.
None of us is perfect, but what if I want to be just a little better? But I was given no tools, even though I'm in a, was educated in a tremendous institution, UCLA,
Yeah.
and we were supposed to be on the West Coast. It was supposed to be a little bit more open-minded, but no, we are just along the same track as every other medical school. Maybe
Hmm.
we have an elective about East-West, integration. We're
Right.
just a little bit taste of what's out there, but no, we were not taught on how nutrition works. We had about half an hour of nutrition.
I was just
So
going to say, I heard
yeah,
45 minutes.
we
Yeah.
knew
It's like,
nothing about supplements. So it's a joke when on a supplement bottle, it says, please consult with your physician before you take the supplement. Yeah, as if you're going to get anything out of us.
yeah.
We don't know. We don't know what it's about. We have to look up on the internet. Guess
Yeah.
what? I'm just going to tell it to you. So that's what the doctors are doing. When you're turning away, they're busy looking on the internet to see what the supplement is, whether or not, and they will ask, is this going to interact with the medications I'm giving you? So there are no experts at this. So there's a tremendous lacking. And because I knew that we could be doing more, partially because if you just look at the new science, new things are coming out, then you will realize, okay, there are a lot of new things that we're not implementing in medicine. So why don't we? Like just because the FDA hasn't said it's okay, but the research said it's great. So are you going to use it because the research shows it's great? Or are you going to wait for 15, 20 years until the FDA says it's okay? And also coming from a traditional Chinese background. I mean, I grew up in China, so the Chinese medicine
Medicine.
was very much part of the fabric of life. That means that you eat certain things to enhance your health, and you take these herbal, food and medicine sometimes are intersecting, right? Particular herbs can be great, or even vegetables can be great for healing something, but it's also really delicious. You can also just use that as food. So there's no clear demarcation. So really, food is thy medicine. And because we're using this concoction of different herbal extracts, using nature to help amplify how nature repairs. And that has always been what I've seen as working very well. It doesn't work for everything, just like Western medicine doesn't work for everything. We each have strengths and weaknesses, but let's not be arrogant thinking that just one branch of medicine. We know everything. We obviously don't, because if you do, you would have cured everything.
Well, and we've
So
never been sicker as a country.
exactly,
You know,
exactly.
I
We
mean, there
spend more money
all the
than
money
any
that
other
we're,
country.
yes, thank you very much. All the
Yeah,
money we're putting into
exactly.
cancer research or this. I'm a breast cancer survivor myself. And
Mhm.
when you were speaking, I remember saying to him, well, what do you think about the alkaline diet? And you
Mm.
could clearly tell, and so I got a lump up to me, but I did not do the radiation that they wanted me to do. I did not do the tamoxifen that they wanted me to do. I went on an 80% alkaline diet and 20% acidic, and drank the water and ate raw for a little bit of vegetables.
Mm.
And it never came back. And that was 2011.
Oh, that's wonderful.
You know, so,
Congratulations.
yeah. So you're right. He had no. He couldn't even say, "Well, I don't know what that means." He acted like he didn't know, or he said, I think he just kind of fluffed it off. And so I think that it was funny. I was interviewing somebody last week, and she calls them the white coats, the
Mm.
white coats.
Interesting.
So I'm all about this, and food is medicine, like you said. And somebody just said to me recently, you know, you should be eating your probiotics, because I take us and we think we're taking a supplement for everything, and there's like 20 supplements I'm taking. I'm like, that's absolutely right. You should try and get it from most of your foods. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like I was just talking with this naturopathic doctor, and he was saying, in the past, we were looked upon as quacks, but now people were like, well, now you know what's going on. And the traditionally trained MDs are so behind that, when I bring an MD to my practice, I feel like there's so much catching up they have to do unless they really took the extra steps to educate themselves, but majority of them are not, including nurse practitioners. So they were like starting at ground zero, whereas naturopathic doctors now is becoming very popular because they were saying, what you guys are talking about, the functional medicine, integrated medicine, that's what we've been doing all these years. So
Who's
welcome
saying
on
that?
board,
Who's saying?
naturopathic
And
doctors.
after, exactly. And I remember when I did this when I had breast cancer, and then shortly, I don't know, months later, a friend of mine in the gym got breast cancer. And I was telling her about
Mm.
this. She goes, well, if that was true, my doctor would know. If I've heard that once, I've heard it 100 times.
That's
What
a
would
lot
you
of faith
say
in
to
your
somebody
doctor.
that says that to you? What would you say? What's the best response? If that's true, my doctor would know. Well, he doesn't have enough training in it, right? You said it yourself. You went to
You
UCLA
know,
medical school, and
people believe in what they believe.
hmm
Sometimes the lessons are taught the hard way.
hmm
So eventually, a lot of these people actually turn around when they realize that when they believed in their doctor, trusted everything they say, and they kept doing what was recommended, and they were not getting better. And
hmm
then they had to seek something else, and then it works. And then all of a sudden, the biggest convert. Now they are really believers. So sometimes there's really nothing I don't really waste my breath on people who are not awakened in that
yes,
sense,
yeah.
because they
You're going to
believe
focus on
what
the
they
people
believe.
that already get it, and then you can help those
Exactly. I
people.
just say I wish you the best of luck. Yeah.
Me
And
too.
and then they have to have their own, it's their own
Their
timing.
their own awakening, right? They have to have
Yes.
their own awakening. Yeah. Okay, so for somebody hearing about stem cells for the first time, what's the simplest way to understand what they actually do for the body?
Yeah, so I always bring us back to the origin of when you were a single cell. So believe it or
Okay.
not, no matter how amazing you and I are, how complex, at one point we're just one cell. So your mom and your dad made this fertilized egg, and that was the quintessential stem cell, the embryonic stem cell. And that's the very first cell that what does it have? What do the cells contain? It contains the DNA, the blueprints, right? So that blueprint, from that, somehow you knew exactly how to divide, how each cell should be migrating, forming what new structure, and how each cell should be gaining new functions. And then gradually you're forming this entity that start to have some differentiation of different parts. And then they morph more and more. Each time when they morph, really it's stem cells dividing and gaining function. It's almost
Oh,
like
okay.
if they are specialists, they can't be generalists. There's only so much that the cells can do. So if they start to gain more abilities, to be able to do certain things, having new proteins, having, be able to perform certain functions, they lose the ability to do a lot more. So you can't have the best of both worlds. So they would turn off certain areas of the genes, and then they will switch on a particular region. And the ones that are turned off usually are turned off. That's it. So they're going down this pathway. And as they go down the pathway, they can differentiate more. So then they turn off more genes and they focus on a particular region of the genetic, the DNA. And then as they evolve and evolve, keep morphing, they will eventually become a cell of the working organ. So let's say in the heart, it will become heart muscle cell. Now they're pumping. But right before they become the heart muscle cell, there's the heart muscle stem cell. But that's the last stage of a stem
before
cell.
they become, before they graduate. Okay.
Right. That heart stem cell, all it can become is a heart muscle cell. That's it. That's the end point for a stem cell. So you are the ultra specialist, but you can't become anything you want, or any other thing, like very, very narrow focused. So anywhere along the way, there are stem cells, and we can utilize any of those points. We can grab one of those cells, which has all these potentials. Why is having potentials important? Because when they have all these potentials, the signals they send out is more broad. They can promote regeneration or promote formation of new tissue from a much wider scope. So you have the ability to produce lots of regeneration. And as you get narrower, the amount of regeneration is more laser focused. So we can intercept anywhere along the way. Of course, initially, we discovered embryonic stem cells, which is really day 5 to 7 of the formation of the fetus, of the embryo. So you can get cells from that little ball of cells, and then they can become any organ cells. But as you keep developing, then things are more specialized. Like you can get cells from just the blood lineage, and all they can become are cells of all the varieties of blood cells. Or you can get cells into the nervous system, and then that's all they can differentiate into. Nowadays, it's very popular to use what's called mesenchymal stem cells, which is a very special type of cells. Technically, they can become muscle, cartilage, tendon, fat, etc. But they can also become a whole lot of other different tissues. It just is not, that's not their main function, but in research, they have been shown to be able to develop into these other tissues. What do? They are in your body to perform as the conductor in the symphony of regeneration. So there's regeneration, there's concerted effort that needs to happen for your body to fully repair what's damaged. But who is going to make sure this happens? Now we've got these cells called mesenchymal stem cells that are all along your blood vessels. Anywhere you have blood vessels, you got these cells holding onto the walls of blood vessels, sensing what's going through your blood, sensing what's going on in the neighborhood, and now is able to either get signals from the blood and then emit other signals to tell the neighborhood what to do, or if it's needed, they can squeeze themselves into the blood vessels and start swimming upstream like a salmon, like looking for signals. So they can find where the signals is strongest and then squeeze themselves out of the blood vessels. And now they're right, they're in the places where they're needed and they can go to work. So these cells are really, really fascinating. That's why they have become kind of the gold standard of stem cell therapy. I use that a lot in our clinic, and there's a subpopulation from these mesenchymal stem cells, MSC for short, that has become very popular because of some of our favorite celebrities like the Kardashians. It's called mu cells. So there's subpopulation of these mesenchymal stem cells that just became really, really famous these days. But yeah, so as you can see, there are a range of stem cells. When people say stem cells, you can't just, there's no one thing called stem cells. Yes, they have a particular set of characteristics, such as the ability to self-renewal, so they can make more copies of themselves, and they engage in asymmetrical division. So they don't divide, most of the time, they don't divide into two identical copies of themselves. They divide into one copy that's identical to itself, another copy that's a little different. It's called asymmetrical division. So now they can make something that has more function, but then retain a copy that's the same, right? So they're not, they didn't just get rid of themselves. So
Yeah.
they're always preserving a copy of itself. So that's what's really, really cool. And then they, of course, replenish the tissue. So if there's one definition, that's the definition of a stem
So
cell.
my doctor says that we don't die from old age, we die from inflammation. And I couldn't agree more. When I found him a couple of years ago, I was not in great shape. I had a lot of anxiety, a lot of depression, and he found out it was all related to my gut. Did you know that 90% of your dopamine and 90% of your serotonin are made in your gut? Okay. So I have been on all of his products ever since that day. But the ones that I want to talk to you about are the alkalizers. He's got one for coffee and he's got one for alcohol. What do? They make the beverage from acidic to alkaline, which is so important because if your body is too acidic, it is a breeding ground for disease. So you want to keep your body in an alkaline balance. So with the coffee, it comes either for black coffee or it comes flavored as a creamer. I love the flavored ones. Vanilla is my favorite, but I also love the hazelnut. They're all delicious. One scoop, and it does not break your fast for one. It changes your body, your coffee from acidic to alkaline, which you don't have to feel guilty about drinking coffee anymore. And the one for alcohol does the same thing. 5 drops into any alcoholic beverage, and it will make it from acidic to alkaline, meaning no hangover. It doesn't change the taste. It doesn't change the color. And best of all, it doesn't change the buzz. You can still drink and enjoy yourself, all the while knowing that you're not causing inflammation in your body. So go to www.getoffyouracid.com and use the promo code Tina Marx 20. So you only need to take one, right? Because it's like you said, it makes a copy of itself, and then it makes other copies that maybe
okay. Just so you know,
yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead.
When we were first being formed, everything were stem cells. And until we start getting organ-specific cells, and those were not stem cells anymore.
We're still in the womb.
When we are adults,
yeah,
most of our cells are working cells. They're not stem cells, although we still have stem cells. The mesenchymal stem cells I was talking about, there's a ratio. When we were first born, every 1 in 10,000 cells is a mesenchymal stem cell. So there are a lot of them. However, as they divide, as they provide more copies or more offsprings, they don't live forever. Just because they preserve a copy of itself, that copy can die. Any cells in your body can die. So there's an attrition rate. And also there's a Hayflick principle. They can't indefinitely divide. There's like about 76 or so generations. So eventually they run out of themselves. So when you reach your teenage years, it's already 1 in 100,000 from 1 in 10,000, right? So 1/10 less stem cells. Even though you're a teenager, you think I'm, top of the world, I'm invincible. I'm sorry. Your ability to regenerate as far as the cell count is 1/10 of what it was when you were born. And then when you reach your 40s, it becomes 1 in 400,000. And when you reach your 80s, it becomes 1 in 2 million. So these cells are dwindling in numbers. And this is one of the reasons why stem cell therapy is so powerful, because you're replenishing the signals that the body has lost. It's almost like I tell people, it's like watching television. When you first started watching television, that's our human body. Everything's loud and clear, beautiful, and very, very precise. And then as you start to live longer and longer, the screen starts to get pixelated and it just gets fuzzier and more and more difficult to decipher, right? And when it's really pixelated, you have no idea what's shown. So your body's like, I don't know. I don't know what it's trying to say. I can't hear it. I can't see it. So when you put stem cells in the body, all of a sudden, it's like your TV is coming back on high def again. Now it's like, duh, of course, this is what I do to repair myself. So that's kind of how I look at it.
Well, so does it have to be your stem cells or is it somebody else? Oh,
No.
it can be that's what I'm thinking because if it's
Yeah.
somebody that I mean, I'm
Well,
63
cells
years
are
old. I don't know.
cells.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's interesting is intelligence is intelligence. Even human stem cells given to animals can result in rejuvenation of the animals. So there's even cross species benefits. But among humans, because the cells as stem cells, they are technically fairly blank
Mm,
because they haven't gained the functions. Why are functions gained? Like, what does it mean to gain function? You have to have proteins to perform functions to gain function. And the proteins are expression of the DNA. So everyone's DNA is just a little different. So that means everyone's protein expression is different. This is why we have rejections. That's why we have to match because we have different proteins that can trigger reactions. But as stem cells, they're almost blank. And if they try to differentiate, they may start to express the markers on the surface, and then they may be gotten rid of by the body. But this special group, MSCs, mesenchymal stem cells, they also have the ability to modulate the immune system. So they're considered immune evasive. So they're like evading the immune system. Basically, like immune system can't tell that these are not from yourself because the surface is so nondescript, right? There's nothing to attack. So then they can be in the body, do its work, and not create any problems. And as any cell in the body, there's an attrition rate that eventually the cells, whether or not it's in your body or something that's put into your body, they all are going to die at one point. So none of them live forever. Some do stay. We all know some cells stay in the body, just like I don't know if you're a mother, but if
of
you
course.
yeah, okay.
Yes, not of
So
course. Yes, I am a mother. Of
yeah,
course
so
I'm a mother.
so you I bet my life on it that you in your body you have your children's cells. So it could be in every organ of you, because they found out that for the easiest way to tell is that if you have sons, do you have a son?
I have a son.
Okay, so your son's DNA is in your body. So what they found out is the mothers who have had male children, of course, you can tell easily differentiate Y chromosomes, right, in a woman's body. So they found out that the women have Y chromosomes all over their body, in their brain, in their breasts, so every organ. So when you are pregnant, communicating with your baby is not just sight and sound and the blood, delivering nutrients. Your baby's giving you stem cells. And there's an exchange. This is why autoimmune diseases tend to go into remission. Well, this is what I think, because I think they're getting a mini stem cell infusion because stem cell therapy has been incredibly powerful for autoimmune diseases. So if you're pregnant and you're getting this constant infusion from your own baby, basically a mini stem cell therapy, that's
Hmm.
one reason that is calming the immune system. So, and what's really fascinating is that
So it's actually it's helping your immune system as a mother
yes,
of a boy.
yes. Yeah. Or a girl. Doesn't matter. Is from your
Okay.
baby. It's just
Okay.
easier to tell because it's really hard to tell if you have a daughter, whether or not certain cell is from your daughter. You have to
Oh,
do a
because
lot
you
of
have the
other.
same because okay,
Yeah.
because it's a Y. I got
As a
it.
scientific study, this is very easy. Let's just find out if there's any Y chromosomes in a woman's body. And guess
Hmm.
what's really fascinating? 60% of women actually have Y chromosomes in their body. We think we're so pure that we're all women. No, we're not all women.
Yeah.
We're a conglomerate. We are a little complex universe that we've carried bits and pieces of other people in us. So when they looked at how so many women could have Y chromosomes in their body, they couldn't account for it by having had a male baby or having had a male sibling and who they didn't know about and died in utero. And they were looking at all these possibilities. The only way they could explain the fact that 60% of the women have Y chromosomes is that during sexual intercourse, that there is DNA exchange. So I bet you there's DNA exchange even
Oh,
when people are kissing. So this is part of
wow.
human existence. We're already
Wow.
getting other people's cells. So it's not
That
so outlandish that we're getting some cells, infusion of cells from another human.
right. Wow, that's fascinating.
I
So,
know, right? Changes
so
your
yeah, totally. Yeah. A lot to consider. I mean, my head's just kind of spinning right now. Let me ask you a question. So, is there anything that stem cells cannot rejuvenate? I've got a situation for you. I'm not going to name it. It's a very personal situation for me. It's not me, but this person has had 4 heart attacks now and
Hmm.
needs open heart surgery. Okay. But the doctors won't do it because they said the arteries would just disintegrate. They're just that
Hmm.
brittle. Would stem cell therapy, it,
Yes, yes.
it
So
would help with
I
that.
founded an academy specifically to fill the void of what we understand about stem cells and the research. So there's so much research going on. So when I nod my head, it's because I've seen the research. So research have shown that stem cell therapy can be powerful in atherosclerosis, so cleaning up the arteries. And I can show you articles with pictures of before and after stem cells of how the aortic root plaques were dissolving and incredible reduction in the amount of plaques and macrophage accumulation. And not only that, it helps tremendously with cardiac remodeling, so it can break down scar tissue and help remodel the heart muscles and regenerate. And I've seen it in my clinic treating patients after MI, right, cardiac heart attack,
Mhm.
and seeing increase in ejection fraction. That's objective data. And then, of course, increased stamina when they're exercising. They could tell. I mean, they were ecstatic. So I think, please use nature's intelligence.
Yeah, yeah,
Use something that's
exactly. It's
non-invasive.
just so obvious. So let me, is it one treatment? How many treatments are necessary for something like this?
Yeah, I would say if something has been long-term and chronic,
Hmm.
you may need more sessions to get it to a good place. If we're just doing prevention, that's one thing. If we have to actively reverse disease process
Yeah,
when the disease is more far down the road,
yeah,
and that may take more. And I usually, in my clinic, what I do is 3 sessions within the time span of about 6 months. So every 1 to 2
okay,
months, I
okay.
tell the person, let's do one more session because the repair comes in waves. I give an analogy. It's like when you get a bacterial infection, right? Let's say pneumonia, and the doctors give you antibiotics. Do you take the whole bottle all at once and hoping that's it? Or
Yeah,
do you take one every 4 to 6 hours? So it's the
yeah.
same thing. There's a natural rhythm in your body that you
Mhm.
can't just bombard with one thing and hoping that everything is just going to fix itself. And that's called a miracle. And
Mhm.
we're not really conducting miracles, although sometimes I've seen miraculous things, but that's not what I expect. This is still medicine. Medicine relies on dose and frequency, and because that's the rational way of dealing with the
Hey
body.
guys, okay, let's talk skincare. For most of my adult life, I had a hate relationship with my skin. I struggled with adult acne, discoloration, large pores, psoriasis, and fine lines. I swear, all that changed when I started using herbal face food. I mean, this stuff is powerful. We're talking the world's most potent antioxidant and anti blemish formula. And the serum is the #1 anti aging serum in the world, made entirely from 100% botanical plants. No chemicals, no synthetics, 100% all natural. Whether you're dealing with fine lines, dark spots, sun damage, rosacea, psoriasis, melasma, or just want that all day healthy glow, Herbal Face Food has your skin covered. Literally. I've been using all their products for 3 years now, and let me tell you, it's like green juice for your face, only stronger. Remember, whatever you put on your skin goes in your body. So, this is a really important point here, seeing that it's 100% all natural. Give it a try. It's got a 100% money back guarantee, no questions asked. You can check them out at herbalfacefood.com. Use promo code TINA20 for 20% off your entire order. That's herbalfacefood.com because your skin deserves the best.
Body.
Okay. Wow. All right. Where are you? First of all, where are you located?
I'm in Los Angeles.
You are. Okay. So why is everybody running to Mexico?
That
I it, it,
is
it
the
it's
question
legal
of the
here, correct?
century.
Huh?
is so incredibly legal. There's also parameters, but this is I feel like I've been talking until my face is blue, and the myth persists. Why does it persist? First of all,
Because I heard the
some,
Kardashians went to Mexico.
some people, there are people who are making tremendous profit when this myth persists, right? If I've set up shop in Mexico or Costa Rica, I would want people to think that they can't get any treatments in the US, right? That there would be to my benefit if they think that they have to come out of the US
Right.
to get decent treatment. And that's not true. They may provide treatments and some may be great. Although I don't quite agree with approach of growing the cells to huge numbers. And this is really why they go overseas, because in the US, if you start to, let's say I use cells from the umbilical cord, which is more potent than from our own body. So
Mhm.
if I take cells from the umbilical cord and just take them out and I don't change them in any way, I don't use enzymes or chemicals, and I don't grow them in a tissue culture. So what I took out and then I freeze them, and by the time I need to use it, I thaw them out and then give it to you. But if you want huge numbers of cells, that's going to be difficult. That's going to be extraordinarily expensive
If wait, say that
unless
again. If you want what?
if you want more cells, if you
More
want a
cells.
lot of
Okay.
them.
Okay.
Then one method is to put them in a tissue culture and let them grow.
Uh-huh.
It sounds great. It's like growing money on trees, right? So
Right.
why don't I just leave it there and then it just grows for itself? I wish they say there's no free lunch. I mean, it's a little tough when you think that you can just let life give you more and more and more with no consequence. And that's just not how life works.
Right.
Because as you let them replicate, they start to morph. Their DNA expressions start to change and they will secrete different molecules and different areas of the genes are going to turn on. And also, so they're also going to start to gain function. So research I've shown, I know this is because I keep up with the research and I
Mhm.
go to conferences where people are doing cutting edge studies, uh,
Mhm.
exactly looking at what happens to these cells when you grow them in culture. So remember I was telling you that they perform asymmetrical division. So
Mhm.
stem cells, for the most part, when they divide, one is themselves, and then another copy is a little different. And
Yes.
if you can imagine from one cell, you get one that's identical, one is more differentiated. So
Mhm.
now you have two. From those two cells, that one cell that's identical is going to divide into one that's identical, one is differentiated. The differentiated one is not going back. It's going to have more differentiated cells. So now you got four cells with only one that's original. And you can
Right.
imagine doing that time after time after time. So you get billions, trillions of cells, and then you take a little proportion out of it, which sound like a lot of cells. I'm giving you 100 million, 200 million, 300 million cells, but the cells are much reduced in its vitality and capabilities because the research have shown that by giving 10 times the number of cells, but the cells have been expanded in a culture
Mhm.
compared to 1/10 the number of cells, but have not been expanded. The smaller number of cells that's original
Yeah.
exerts more benefit.
More
Yes.
potency.
And less numbers, but more benefit. So you're shooting yourself in the foot. You think you're getting more, but you're
Right.
actually
The
receiving
more
less
is not
benefit.
always better.
Yeah, so
Right.
that's why I'm not a huge proponent because knowing, unless they have improved and they have worked it out with God, they can
Yeah.
keep producing it without degradation. Anything is possible. But from what I see, yes, the more you replicate, that's why some of the companies say, oh, we only do, two passages, they limit the number. But even with one passage, so that's can be many generations, and then there can be degradation. So, so the thing is that when you start to grow the cells in a culture, they go into senescence as well. So they start to get older. Just like
Mhm.
when we live our lives, our cells go through senescence. It's the same process, whether or not it's in a culture or in the body. So when you put cells that you want to give you the best signals, the most undiluted and potent signals. You want it to be from original native cells. that haven't been changed.
Right. And that's, our cells, that's the most important thing. I mean, there's all this talk about NAD plus and NMN. Do you take either of those? I mean, I've been taking NAD
Um,
plus and now I'm hearing NMN is better. Do you believe that?
I'm a little hesitant about NAD as far as IV infusions because I think that's maybe too drastic. Maybe for certain,
I'm doing oral.
yeah, there's
But then I heard
oral, there's
oral doesn't really do
subcutaneous,
anything.
there's
Yeah.
nasal.
Yeah.
So it
Yeah.
could be helpful. Yeah, it could be
Okay.
helpful. I do take a supplement that contains NAD. So I think it could be helpful.
Okay.
The key is to improve your mitochondria function.
Yeah, absolutely.
Um,
I mean, I
yeah,
learned that the hard way. I mean,
yeah.
yeah, I
Okay.
had leaky gut, I had SIBO, I was having anxiety and depression,
Mhm.
and I was
Oh
incapacitated.
gosh.
And I
Yeah.
realized, yeah, I mean, I did not realize that 90% of your dopamine and serotonin was made in your gut. Uh,
hmm
how much of healing is physical, and how much do you think is energetic and emotional?
Hmm. Um, I think they're all very important. I don't know if you know, I was once a psychiatrist. So when
Oh,
I was in medical school, while we were doing rotations on all these specialties, I was the most energetic. I just remember I was like, I couldn't get enough of it. I wanted to stay late. I was like, why am I so happy staying late? I was just excited and energized because I just found mental health
me
really
too. Me
fascinating.
too. I
Yeah,
straight A's in
so
psychology. Yeah.
but I think very early on, and also from my own experience, I realized that you have to take care of all three arenas. Otherwise, you're never going to get to complete healing because that's
Mhm.
how I got to the place um, from a depression, from existential crisis of not knowing why I existed to being happy and fulfilled and
Mhm.
vibrant. So you have to take care of, I went the reverse. I think a lot of people are going from the physical first. They want to be physically healthy first. And then they go into maybe psychological, and the last stage maybe spiritual. So I went on the exact reverse. I went on a spiritual route, trying to answer the question of why I'm here. You know, what is the whole point of any of this? And that led me to temples and churches and trips to India,
Mhm.
etc. And from there, I had to resolve why I was not happy,
Mhm.
why certain things trigger my emotions.
Mhm.
And that I had to go back to just what happened when I was growing up, becoming a full-fledged adult. What were the things that will make me react to things that way? And you have to dissect that because they are its own entity. They
Yeah.
make their own marks on you. So if you
Yes.
don't understand why and how, then you're slaves to your emotion because you don't know how you're reacting and why, and then you can't move on from your reactions. So that's a psychological. And then the physical is a very, very crucial piece. If your brain is inflamed, I bet you it's going to be really hard for you to feel happy and to feel comfortable. So you have to take care of your physical well-being. Um, just because you're going into spirituality, meditation, it still doesn't negate the fact that your body may need certain nutrients and or it may be toxic or maybe it
Mhm.
was infested.
Mhm.
So you've got to look at your physicality and remedy that.
I couldn't agree with you more because I didn't realize my whole life my nervous system was in fight or flight. And like you were
Mm,
saying, so when your brain is inflamed, and that was the way that I regulate my nervous system is by deregulating my prefrontal cortex through deep breathing, through binaural beats. That's what I do it
mm,
every single morning because I'm telling you, I would wake up, it would be a Saturday, I'd have no responsibilities, and I'd be so anxious. I'm like, what's going on? It was like
mm,
my body was taking over. So, we do have to retrain our brain. Like you said, we have to go back and go, what? We don't really have, I don't think we have to pinpoint exactly what it was, but I don't think most people know that the most formative years are from 0 to 5. And then
Mm.
by the time we're 11, all our beliefs are in place. And, most people are living with those stories, not even realizing that that's where their emotions and therefore their behaviors are kicking in. And it's a story that doesn't
Yeah,
provide for
yeah,
them anymore, right? I mean, you had to be a
yeah,
certain way if those things were imposed on you when you were 5 years old. But yeah, so that
exactly. The human experience. You can't just take that out of a person. That it's shaping you, shaping who you are. Yeah.
exactly. What would truly integrated health care system look like to you?
I think doctors should be, uh, all the doctors need to learn this new form of medicine, first of all.
Hmm.
They need to basically be functional medicine practitioners. First of all, that is the whole foundation, or anti-aging medicine, whatever you call it. Anti-aging medicine is really doing the same thing. It's trying to address all these different factors in your body, um, so that it can stall the progress of aging. But functional medicine, it's looking at the exact same, all these different factors, hormonal and nutrition and microbiome and toxicity, mitochondria. So like everything you need to look at all these factors. And people I mean, this is such a, it's not easy, right? Because it's so complex. We're, as human beings, first of all, we have carry around this little universe that's our body, and
Hmm.
our body has everything, including this microbiome. So the body itself is a lot, and then on top of the body we've got experiences, life
Hmm.
experiences, that needs to be addressed. So I think everybody, it would be nice to be able to really understand what your triggers are and how you're adapting to the world and what's preventing you to be more effective and happy, so that everybody can benefit from that. And then everybody needs to know why they're here. Is
Hmm.
there something more than just what you see by from your eyes? Because there are a lot going on that you can't see. Just because you can't see doesn't mean it's not there. So do you want to accept that there may be something more, or do you want to just stay blind? So if you want to open up your eyes, you could gain a whole lot of freedom and clarity. That is something that's an individual journey. Some people don't want to know. I mean, even some of my friends, they don't want to
I
know.
know people like that too. When I start talking, they're
Yeah,
like,
they're like,
nah, nah,
no,
nah, 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 nah. Yeah, it's
yeah,
like
I just want to care about
ignorance
what's
is
in front of
bliss.
me. And
Yeah.
and that's okay. That's their journey, right? That's their path.
You're right. That's their journey. I felt like if I didn't make these steps, I already felt I was dying a quick death, not even a slow death.
Mm.
And you bring up the word happy. I didn't even, I, I'm still searching like what makes me happy because I'm at this pivotal point that what used to make me happy, well, I'll name one thing that used to make me happy was shopping all the time.
Oh,
And it doesn't make me happy anymore. It
oh.
doesn't fulfill me. So I'm like, there's this huge void, and I'm going, God,
Mm,
when I've been a single mom since my son was 5.5 months old. He's 22 now. So when you're
mhm,
doing all that, and then all of a sudden, now he's grown up. Now I have the time to. I'm going, what makes me happy? And I was asking people that I know, and they couldn't really answer it either. We've gotten so far away from what truly lights us up because we're so
mm,
filled with responsibilities and the hustle society and being better, making more, having more, doing more. And it really just it fragments ourself from ourself. And I think that that is something, being quiet, like I'm talking about it all the time, to my clients. The first hour that you're awake, they say your brain is the most powerful. So be careful what you put into it. Hey, real quick,
mm.
let's talk about something we all deal with, but never really think about. Electromagnetic radiation. Yeah, EMF. It's everywhere from our phones, laptops, Wi Fi routers, even our smart fit fridges. And no, I'm not saying ditch your tech. I mean, who could? But I am saying you can protect yourself from unnecessary exposure with Aries Tech. Backed by peer reviewed studies and independent testing, Aries Tech makes compact, science backed EMF modulation devices that help reduce the effects of electromagnetic radiation on your body. Rather than blocking the EMFs, Aries Tech's products work with your own body's electromagnetic field to balance out the effect. Yes, you heard that right. Our body is made up of energy, and this works with your own energy to balance out the effects. I've got one around my neck, one on my phone, and one in my living room. And honestly, it gives me peace of mind knowing I'm doing something small that can make a big difference over time. So whether you're working from home, gaming for hours, or just scrolling your feed in bed, protect your space. Check them out at ariestech.com and use the code TINA25 for 25% off your order. That's AIRES tech.com because your body deserves what you put into it, right?
Mm, mm,
Very,
yeah.
very, very, yeah. So
Yeah.
let's see. What do you do personally to stay aligned, healthy, and grounded?
Uh, so we haven't talked about my personal journey. So
Yeah.
I grew up in China. I wrote a memoir called The Tiger of Beijing. You can see the tiger behind me, right? So
I saw
there's
that
the
when you
tiger.
first came
Yeah.
on.
So that's the mythical tiger. I mean, we're all part myth anyhow. But that was a story of what happened to a young woman. I was 20 years old. I was standing in front of American Embassy. That's chapter one. And I was flatly rejected by the American Embassy to come to America. And this
Oh,
is after I worked really hard for 18 months. So there's a Chinese girl that had no money, no connections, but just, intelligence and determination and wanting to come to this country that I was fascinated by it. Granted, I was affected by the American entertainment,
mhm.
by the movies and the TV series. And I was just fascinated. Partially is because I thought it was a beautiful ideal that all these people come from around the world to seek this freedom,
Uh-huh.
to come together and make up their own rule that they think that's more human, that or more humane as a society. And then they can come from anywhere, any culture, and they can become one together. I just thought I'm a little bit of a romantic. I was like, wow, that is so beautiful. And I want to be part of that. And then also there's so much opportunity. You can become what you want to be. And if you want to, then it's possible. In some other
Yes.
countries, it may not be possible. So I wanted to experience that. And so there's in my gut, I wanted to be in this country. Um, and then I was rejected. So that's when the book
How
started.
old were you at that
I
point?
was 20 years old.
20. Okay.
So that story shows if you do, if you're determined to reach your goal, the universe does come and help you, even though at times it seems like no one gave a damn about
Mm-hmm.
what I
Mm-hmm.
wanted and how hard I tried.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I was to the point where I was in tears. I cried. I you know, somehow if you read a story, ended up being a tour guide in Tibet. And I met all these
Wow.
Americans on my team, but no one wanted to help me. And even though they said all these wonderful things about me, Joy, you're amazing, you do such a great job, blah, blah, blah. And they all knew that I wanted to come to America. So all I needed was a piece of paper saying it was an affidavit of support. Just somebody was willing to do that. And all these people spent tens of thousands of dollars. This is 1991, to take a month-long trip to Tibet and the Himalayas and the Mount Everest. And it's not cheap. So these people had the resources and they
Mm-hmm.
all said all these things, nice things to me about me. And they all knew I needed help and no one wanted to help me. I cried a lot on the way
Mm-hmm.
back from the Himalayas to back to Lhasa, to the capital of Tibet. I was just profoundly disappointed. I just felt like I guess people don't really care.
Mm-hmm.
But at your darkest hour, I think that's before something actually breaks through. Um, I caught some breaks and the universe showed me a different way. So 8 months after my visa rejection, I landed in San Francisco.
How
Even
did you
though,
do that? How did you make your way there?
well, okay. So to spill the beans a little bit, on my very last day in Tibet, on my way to the airport, I met an American man. So something happened in a taxi. You have to read the book to find out what happened.
Okay. Okay.
But it's a dramatic story. And then, yeah, and then a few months later, I showed up in San Francisco. Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
But that's not the end of the story. That was just the middle part.
Okay.
That's like, hey, good job. You made it here. But guess
Yeah.
what? Here's another monkey wrench in your way. How about that you're trapped in the place where you have not only you don't have any financial freedom, but psychologically you're manipulated. And yeah,
Are
and
you with
basically,
this man?
yes. Yeah.
Ah.
So then it's another kind of awakening. As a young girl,
Mm-hmm.
it was confusing
Mm-hmm.
because my mom didn't teach me if a man does this, you watch out. If
Mm-hmm.
if they say if they what they say and what they do are different, you really, really need to analyze
Pay
what's going
attention.
on.
Yeah.
But no one told me. So I just got really confused. If a man has tears in his eyes telling you how much they love you, right? He loves you and how much
Mm-hmm.
he's devoted to you and how much he admires you. And then he does things that are just
Probably
so
completely opposite.
hateful.
Yes.
And and then when I was like, well, he loves me. So if I just explain this, how much this is hurting me, he will understand. So when I tried to explain, and it just went completely over his head, and I didn't understand how come he couldn't hear me. Like, oh, I don't think I'm that bad at expressing myself. I mean, I'm trying to explain that it really hurt. But how come there's no way, like I couldn't get through? What's going on? So this is when you run into pathology, right? Some people, because of their own past experiences,
Wounding.
of
Yeah.
their
Mm-hmm.
own, yeah, their own wounds, their own adaptive
Mm-hmm.
styles, or how much they formed a shield around themselves. Sometimes now is a new buzzwords thrown around a lot, narcissistic,
Right.
traits. Narcissism is a way for people to obviate pain of inadequacy because
Mm-hmm.
they are afraid that they're actually inadequate. So now they're forming this shield as if that they are at the top of the world, that they are above everyone else. So they're
And it's
beyond.
completely the opposite because they
Yeah.
don't feel that way. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But
And I think
certainly,
if we look at it that way, instead of that person just an a-hole, do you know what I mean? And going, this person is really hurting inside because they feel so inadequate. I
yeah,
think we would have a little more empathy towards narcissists because it's gotten to be such a dirty word and oh, that person's evil and they don't care and they don't have
very
any empathy.
hard.
They're just cut off from their empathy, right?
It is very, very difficult to deal with people like that.
It is.
And what I realized was that Joy, yes, you have incredible amount of love, and you were told that love can heal anything. But what I realized was that I could sacrifice my entire life to heal this one person, and I may not succeed. And then I just spent my entire life being miserable. So is that what I want to do? Is that the best way to respect this entity, this gift that's given, right? To be what I can do in the world. Is that what I can do, which is to sacrifice myself for the possibility that I can heal this one person? Is that my responsibility, or is
That's
that
not your
his
highest, that's not
responsibility?
your highest and best use. No.
No. So I decided, you know what? He has to seek his own healing. Either he gets healed or he die unhealed.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not my problem. That's between him and his giver, his maker. So
Mm-hmm.
then I'm gonna go on and fulfill my mission in life. So that's how I set myself free. It wasn't easy because at first I thought I was going to be homeless and or
Oh.
be deported, but eventually,
Universe,
um,
God, whatever you want to call it, wanted to show you that you're a lot stronger than you think, right? How many times do
yes,
you think you were going to crash and crumble? And you've got
no,
obviously stronger shoulders than you thought, and I
exactly,
really,
exactly.
I commend you because a lot of people would not have been that brave to make that move.
Yeah, so
Mhm.
so that's a story. I wrote it because I think it's going to help a lot of people, and it has, both men and women, which
What's the
is
name of the
really,
book?
it's called Tiger of Beijing.
Tiger of Beijing. And
Yeah,
where,
it's on Amazon.
Okay, Bee
And
Gees.
there's an Audible version as well. So a lot of people like listening. So I was reading my story.
Yeah, I'm gonna probably I listen to almost I Audible. I don't read.
Oh
I
yeah.
probably should. I heard it's better for you. I can get through it faster.
Yeah,
Well, just
I love Audible.
can you tell I'm from America? The hustle is I can get through it
I
faster.
do it myself. It's much faster. You guys spend so much time driving. It's so nice to just sit in the car, right? And then you listen to a book and you'll start learning things or podcasts. I love that.
I do too. I do too. I love podcasts. I love learning. But then there's a point because I'm an empath and I take it in all day long and then I go, I gotta just
Okay, let's have some music.
downtime, girl. You know what I'm talking about, right? You also have tell us about your skincare line.
Yeah,
It's
so
called
Chara Omni, Chara, Chara Omni
okay.
was it came about. So I started a stem cell company providing injectable stem cell products to doctors
Okay.
for IV use, for injections into different body parts and joints. And I really did not, aesthetics was not, to be honest, was not my passion. It was, but I wanted to look good myself. I wanted to make sure my skin looks good. But my whole thing about becoming a doctor is to heal people,
Mhm.
is to treat really complex diseases. So I wasn't thinking much about the face, but I just wanted a good product. And then I, of course, learn about all the toxicities and all these daily products,
Oh,
whether or not
oh yeah.
healthy,
But it all
everywhere,
makes
right?
you look great, but it's what you're putting on your skin is going inside. Yeah.
Yeah, well,
People forget
temporarily
that.
you think something makes you look great, but it's actually end up doing damages because a lot of
Exactly.
skin is
Exactly.
the most absorbent organ in the body, and you're taking everything right into your blood. So I really wanted to avoid that, but I found even when I went to very expensive Korean products that's supposed to be superior and natural, and then when I actually flip the bottle and look at the ingredients and I realized, oh, that's not natural. That's not natural. Why did it tell me it's all natural? And I see all these synthetic ingredients. I was very disappointed. And also the effect wasn't, was kind of lackluster and I wasn't that impressed.
Doing
And
that
then,
great of it. Yeah.
yeah, it was just fine. It didn't do damage. It's not like Meaningful Beauty from
Cindy
Cindy
Crawford.
Crawford. That made me break out and it was horrible. I bought it because of her and
Yeah. Oh, I
because
did
all the
too. I
hype.
did too. Yeah. The melon. It's
It
a
was
certain
horrible.
melon they get in
Yeah,
certain parts. Yeah.
exactly. It was
Yeah.
just a horrible product.
Yeah.
And and then I went to Natural Expo. I was like, okay, I'm gonna go get the most natural products. So they're not gonna lie because these are natural, expo. So I did get some samples. And then when I actually left a sample in my drawer for just maybe a month, I was trying to finish up something else. And I was like, oh, okay, great. Now I'm ready to use that sample. And I took it out and there were three layers. They're like different, they're separated, right? Not
Okay.
stable. So I thought, of course, when your skin product has separated into three layers, would you put it on your face?
No. No.
So I was like, okay, all right. I'm worried. I don't know what's changed in this cream. I don't know why they can't make this stable. So I tossed it. And that's what made me realize, maybe I should just make it because this just has not been easy. I'm wasting all this time and money, and I haven't seen one product that's really great. So why don't I make it? I put in everything I know that's really phenomenal for the skin, and then I can put stem cells and peptides, all these things that are cutting edge that have proven benefits for skin. How about I make it my own? So that's how Chara Omni came to be. Is I'm a stickler about all natural ingredients, even the preservatives are natural. And
Right.
then yeah, and then I added stem cells and stem cells contain exosomes, but also peptides. So that's yeah, the product came out in 2019. So now it's been 7 years and I refuse to put anything else in my body. I get so many samples from everybody, some big brands. I just can't because I still see all those synthetic ingredients and I know what I put in my product. So this is the only thing. Yeah, my worst fear is when I travel, I forgot my own cream.
You
Like
forgot
that's
your own.
like
Yeah.
that would be a tragedy.
Well, there's always FedEx.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so we have a promo code for your skincare line. Again, it's spelled Chardom.
Chara, Chara. Chara.
Oh yeah, I'm going to give them the promo code, but I want to give them the name of the
Oh,
product first, right?
yes.
So it's CHARDOMNI.com. Is that where they go?
Chara Omni is CHARAOMNI.
Oh,
So
got it.
Chara Omni,
Okay.
C
Dot
H A
com.
R A O M N I dot
Okay.
com. Yeah.
Okay. And then the promo code is Chara, CHARA
10.
10. They'll get 10% off. And then you're also offering a promo for your stem cell uh,
Stem cell treatments at my clinic.
treatments.
Yes.
Yes. If you put in the promo code TINA 500, you'll get $500 off the treatment, which is amazing.
Yes.
Thank you
Yeah.
so much.
Yeah.
If
So
you,
just so you know that, your audience know, 80% of people who come to us are suffering from severe and chronic illnesses
Mhm.
from head to toe, you name it. I don't even give a, restriction, just about everything. What I cannot do is that I cannot change your genetic code. So I'm not doing gene therapy, but what I can do is to repair the downstream damages, even from genetic diseases, but definitely anything that has inflammation as part of the picture,
Mhm.
immune dysregulation, or tissue damage, stem cells are well suited to help you repair. So, but the other 20% of patients are just people
So
who
the
are healthy.
20% you're talking about, you said that you can't change their DNA. Of course you
No,
can't
no, no.
change
So,
it. No.
so in a small number of people who come to who have chronic illnesses, maybe
Uh-huh.
1% may have genetic conditions
Okay.
that I cannot change.
Okay.
But I can't change their genes, but I can change the downstream damages, right?
Damages.
Repair the tissue and modulate the immune system, reduce the inflammation. But the 20% I was talking about are people who are healthy, who
Yeah.
just want to use stem cells to stay healthy. And that's actually me. I'm in that category.
How
Healthy.
often do you do that then?
I do it every 3 months. So I've been doing that for 10 years. So I tell people if you want to do it for anti-aging purposes, the recommendation is every 3 to 6 months.
Every three to
And
6 months. Okay.
yeah.
Okay. And again, what is the best way to get a hold of you?
Probably my Instagram if you want to just follow me on at Dr._Joy_Kong,
Discord. Mhm.
Kong. You can also go to my personal website, which includes different things I'm doing. So it's joykongmd.com, and that has my clinic website on there, my stem cell company on there, the cosmetic company, the academy I have that I've trained hundreds of doctors. We certify doctors in stem cell therapy, and then my podcast. So everything is on that
Everything. And you were
website.
like named stem cell doctor of the year. I think it was in 2019. I'm going by memory.
Right. Of the decade,
Of
also
the
in
decade, and then
2021.
one in 2023. So you know what you're doing. I think you know what
I
you're doing.
try. I
Yeah.
constantly learn and study and I read a lot of articles.
Yeah. Well, you're very well informed. So I'm going to ask you one last question. If you could give the world one piece of advice for living a longer, healthier life, what would that be?
Stop poisoning yourself, only
Mhm.
because that is the worst offense that I see.
Mhm.
And people think it's okay to do that to their body. And I
Mhm.
think that's highly irresponsible and that's disrespectful, to be honest, because this body is a gift. It really is a tremendous gift. So it's our responsibility to at least not pollute it.
Mhm.
Um, and then, there are so many other things you can do, but first, do not pollute this
Mhm.
temple. So if
Mhm.
you can eat a diet that's free from toxins, the pesticides, preservatives, and additives, and all that fried stuff that can, end up have cancer-causing properties, then you are starting out, you're giving your body the best chance, and then you can do all the other things.
Right. I think that's a great answer. Well, thank you so much for being here, Dr. Joy. I I've learned so much. I've appreciated this conversation and I really have so much respect for you. I loved hearing your backstory. I usually ask that in the beginning, and for some reason I didn't. So I'm really glad that you
You got
interjected
too
that.
excited. We have
And
too much to talk about.
exactly, exactly. So you know what? I might even have you on for a part two because I feel like we're just skimming the surface, but I want to be respectful for everybody's time here. So
Oh,
thank you again for being here.
well, I had a lot of fun chatting with you. I would love to come back on again.
Perfect. And thank you, everybody, for being here. Please make sure that you utilize the promo codes that I gave you, which is Chara at CHARA 10 for the skincare line and Tina 500 for the stem cell treatments. And we'll see you next week. Hope you guys have a great week.